Okay, so hello everyone. So welcome to the STMMD conference and welcome to the Config Manager High Availability Planning session. We'll start off with the introduction part. So first of all about me, my name is Rajul and I work for Microsoft as senior consultant. I'm a technology enthusiast as well as a amateur photographer and a travel enthusiast as well. You can contact me in any of these media like LinkedIn or Twitter or Instagram. My all the Twitter handles and LinkedIn IDs are there. You can contact me anytime for any questions. And also apart from that, we have the STMD forum. You can ask any questions in the STMD forum related to any of the topics which we are discussing here, or you can utilize the question and answer timing at the end of the session. And I have been working on the device management for almost 16 years and started off with SMS 2.0 back in 2005. And then slowly moved on to 2007 and 2012, then current branch, then Intune, and now I have put on my hands on AVD as well. So that's basically about me. And let's move on to the next slide. So the agenda. So what all we'll be covering today. So this is a brief about what all topics we are covering today in this session. So I'll be talking about high availability for config MCR, the active passive sites, some of the prerequisites for the active passive sites like content library merge, move content library, and how we are installing a passive site and promoting a passive site, and some details about SQL Always On and how we can move the config MCR DB to SQL Always On with less downtime, minimal downtime. So there are different methods. So we will talk about the best method in that. So this is what we are covering today, and I believe I'll be able to cover in 40 to maybe 30 to 40 minutes, and the remaining time we can spend some time on the question and answers. If you have any questions, just shoot in the Q&A, and once we are done with the session, I'll be able to answer that. Okay, so now HA for config manager. So what exactly is high availability for config manager, and how we can utilize it? So first of all, and before I go into that, I just want to know, do we really require high availability for config manager? That's the most important question comes up with most of the organization when they are planning for the high availability for config MCR. So what I would say is it purely depends on the organization requirements. I have seen some organizations where they use config manager for building the devices during their disaster recovery. So even before their other infrastructures are online, they want config manager to be up and running so that they can build new devices through OSD or whatever method and install the required applications through config manager in the business continuity plan. So there are certain organizations like that where they plan for high availability of config manager. And that's where the high availability is coming more useful. And apart from that, there are certain scenarios where you can use the high availability feature like active passive site for migration of the hardware or moving the servers from one location to another. There are a lot of scenarios. I'll go through that. Now, which all roles support the high availability? So that's where I have mentioned here the supported and not supported one. So CAS and primary site can have active passive mode. So what does that mean? Like we can implement an active passive site in central administration site or else in the primary site. We can use that feature. And also we can use the SQL Always On availability group for site database at the CAS or primary site level. So why I specifically mentioned CAS and primary site is that it is not possible at the secondary site level. Right, so only for CAS and primary site, and CAS and primary site is the main sites for config manager. If you are handling single standalone primary site, then you can go with the SQL always on at the primary site database or the active passive site at the primary site. Now, redundant site system roles. So how do we say that the site system roles are highly available? So consider if you have one distribution point, and if that one distribution point is going offline, the entire systems will not be receiving any content. So to make that role highly available, you can put add an additional distribution point, or you can add one or two additional distribution points. So if any one of them goes offline, the contents will be served from the other distribution points, which is available in that boundary or whichever site. And same case with the management point. So management point is the important one, because if client is not able to communicate with the management point, it will not be receiving any policy or any new updates or anything. The complete activity will be stopped. So management point should be having a redundant role, that is adding multiple management points, so that the client will be picking up any one of the management point whichever is available. So if in case one management point is not available, the client will be trying it for 10 minutes. And it will be waiting for the 5 errors. So within the 10 minutes gap, it will try for 5 times. And if it is failing, it will switch on to the next available management point. So that's how the management point maintains the high availability, and same with the software update point as well. And software update point, it takes a bit more time for the switchover. Like it tries for 30 minutes and it tries for 4 times. So 30 minutes into 4 times, 2 hours. So after 2 hours, the software update point also will switch, or else if you want to switch the software update point from console, you can do it anytime whenever there is, you know that, okay, this software update point is down, you need to switch on to the next software update point for the clients. You can just select the clients and right click and go to the client notification, and there you have the switch software update point option as well. That is also possible. And even state migration point also, it's similar to the distribution point. You can have multiple state migration point whenever you want to build a device using the state migration point, and the task sequence is you calling for the state migration point, then definitely you can add multiple state migration points. So that's where the redundant site system roles will come into play, so that you can make the hierarchy highly available. Now, the remote content library. So where exactly the remote content library will come into picture is when you're going for active passive site and your content library is on the primary site or the CAS site server. Because when you initially install the site, your content library will be automatically created on the CAS site or primary site. If you are using standalone primary site, it will be on primary site. Otherwise, if you are using a CAS, then it will be on the CAS. So when you are configuring active primary site, it is a prerequisite that you need to move the content library from the CAS site or primary site to a remote location. Why? Because when the primary site is the active site, primary site or active CAS site is down, you won't be able to access the remote content library, and that is where the content distribution will fail. So that is a prerequisite. So you can place the remote content library on a network share or a failover cluster, I would say. That will be a good approach if you're having a failover cluster with multiple locations, so that anytime if the content is available for the active or passive site. And same goes with the package content source. So package content source, most of the time it will be local to the primary site or CAS site, but I would say keep it always on a remote location. In case of any infra migration or server migration, you are stuck with the server name, because all your package content source will be having the same server name as the starting point. That is, if just consider you have a local location and you have created a share name with your server name, right? So your server name / package source, that is your location content package content location. So if you want to move the server to another one, you are stuck with this name. So I'll give you a tip how to handle that situation in case if you are moving the server or if you are going to highly available infrastructure. At the end of the session, I'll talk about that, so that once I go through the complete active passive site scenarios, I'll give you a tip on that, how to handle that. And also the multiple SMS provider. So that is again a requirement. You should have multiple SMS provider. So SMS provider is mainly for connecting to the console. And if the primary active site is down, you need an additional provider to bring the passive site up. So that is also a requirement for moving into a highly available infrastructure. And you can have multiple provider on any other site system roles, not only on the primary and means active and passive site. You can have on another site system role like reporting point or anywhere else, so that if any of the site goes down, you can trigger the promotion from those site systems. Now, which all roles are not supported for high availability is first one is, I would say, service connection point. So service connection point is nothing but the role which acts as a bridge between the Microsoft update and all those internet connectivity, your Azure connectivity, like if you're using a CMG, all those connectivity happens through the service connection point. So service connection point does not support any high availability. If there is any problem with the service connection point, you need to either troubleshoot or you can uninstall and reinstall the service connection point. So that's the only option. And same with the fallback status point and other roles which I have mentioned here. So it doesn't support a highly availability on the config manager. So that's it with the high availability on the config MCR. And let's move on to the next slide. What we are going to talk about is the active passive site. So what are the benefits of active passive site? So it gives redundancy. That is obvious. That is the main benefit. And if you're looking for migrating hardware OS, that is one of the best method, I would say, if you are planning to migrate the hardware of the primary site or the CAS site, you can use the active passive method to bring in the new server as passive. And then once everything is done, promote the passive site as active, and your old server becomes passive now, and then remove the passive role from the old server and remove the SMS provider from the old server. That's it. Your old server is done. Your the new passive, new active site will be the new hardware OS, and it will be you and you don't have to maintain this actual server name, because that is one of the legacy which we have been carrying, like the primary site or CAS site cannot server name cannot be changed. So there might be some situations like the data center team might be asking, your server has moved to a different location. Now you need to change your server name to this naming convention, and you cannot use the old naming convention. And the SCCM team will say, no, we cannot change the server name. That is not possible. That is a requirement from the product. So that is gone now. You can always change the server name using this active passive method if you are stuck in that kind of scenario. And also you can go for easily migrate to Azure Infrastructure as Service. That is, if you are migrating from on-prem to Azure, you can definitely use this method to move your primary site or CAS site from on-premise to Azure. That's all the benefits, I would say. And prerequisites. What are all the prerequisites? Prerequisites is that site database can be remote from each site server. So I would suggest let's go for a remote database. That will be easy for the management. If you are co-locating the database on each server, that will be a trouble. And also I'll talk about the limitation part as well. There is a limitation for that. And content library on remote network share, that is must. And it should meet all the prerequisites of installing a primary site. That is what all prerequisites you should handle for installing a new primary site. That should be done on the new passive site, whichever you are going to bring in. Right, that's with the prerequisite, nothing else. It's all simple. And limitations is that when you have an active and passive site, and one of your active site is down, the passive site will not automatically take up the role. We have to do that manually. Right, so you have to promote the passive site into active, then only it will become active. Otherwise it will not. And you can have only one single site server in passive mode. That means if your primary site is in just consider primary site is in Hyderabad, and you want to set another passive site in your DR location that is in Mumbai, you can have the passive site in either in Hyderabad or you can set it in Mumbai, but you cannot have a passive site in Hyderabad as well as Mumbai. That is not possible. Only one passive site can be installed at a time, and either it can be along with the same location or a different location. It supports the multi-subnet and all those things. No worries with that. And the active passive is not supported in secondary site, as I mentioned in earlier. And passive site cannot be installed on an existing site system server which is having any role. Like consider you are running short of server and you want to bring in active passive role, and you don't have enough servers to get that installed. You're thinking like, okay, let me we have two management points in this location. Let me install passive site on one of these. That is not possible, because if there is an existing role installed on that server, the prerequisite check itself will fail, and you cannot install the passive site. So when you're installing the passive site, it should be a fresh server, and you should be adding the site system role as the passive site only. No other roles can be installed. And once the passive site is installed, then you can go ahead and install one primary the management point into that server. That is possible. So initial installation, you should not have any role installed on the passive site. Right, now best practices when you are going for the active passive site is that install additional SMS provider. That is apart from the active and passive site, install it on your any other servers like reporting point or software update point, whichever server you would like, install that. That is a best practice. And move this avoid any other site system roles. Like even after you install the passive site, don't install any other site system roles, because the main reason why we are bringing in active passive site is that whenever this server goes down, the other one should be able to take up the role. So if you're installing any of the roles on this active passive site and server goes down, your other role is also going down. So you have multiple dependency there. So avoid other site system roles, and move the service connection point to another site system from the site server, that is from the active or passive site. Move the service connection point. So your service connection point will be available anytime, even if the active or passive site goes down. So those are the best practices. Now, when we talk about the promotion, so promotion can happen planned as well as unplanned. So in the case of planned, when do we handle the planned passive site promotion? So planned passive site promotion happens when there is a planned DR activity, or you are migrating the hardware, or you are moving the location of the primary site. So that's where when you handle the planned passive site. And also you should avoid any maintenance activities during the promotion. That is if you are doing a site upgrade, like the config manager upgrade is going on, and in between you did a promotion, that will create a lot of trouble. You may need to end up with raising support ticket. And also, once you are done with the upgrade, at least I would say wait until the client upgrade is completed. That is the default is, I think, 5 days or 7 days. If you're change that settings, then wait until that. Don't do the site promotion in between the client upgrade. And what happens in case of the unplanned? So unplanned, what happens? Your active server goes down unexpectedly, and you had to bring in the passive side. So you can connect to any of the other SMS provider and activate the promotion. And what it will do is it will wait for 30 minutes just to check whether the current active one is coming back or not. If it is not coming back, it will forcibly promote the passive side. And in between 30 minutes, if the active side came up, you fixed all the hardware or any other issues with the active site and it came up, then also the promotion happens, but it happens gracefully, right? That's with the passive site promotion. So that's it with the active passive side. What all topics I can cover, I have included all the possible options. Now let's move on to some of the prerequisites with that is content library merge. So content library merge. Content library merge. Why I am talking about this content library merge is there is a known issue when we are using the content library move. It is not doing the content library merge, and content library merge will come into picture when there is an issue with the content library. That is, if your content library is spanned across multiple drives. Most of the cases I have seen that the servers will be having multiple content library drives, and that content library drives will be on different drives. Like if you have C, D, E, F, all those drives will be having the content lying on all the different drives. Oops, I think this is something to do with my presentation. Yeah, sorry. So what happens is content library merge is you want to merge all the content library into one single source. That is, it should be on one single drive if it is spanned across multiple drives. And you have to use this content library merge tool so that it will merge all the content from each drive into a single drive. And this tool is available in our tools folder on the primary site or CAS site. You can access this tool and you have to provide a specific command line. I'll show you the command line. And so content library transfer.exe, source drive E and target drive F. And you can provide that to a log location so that you will be able to see all the details, whatever happened in the log. And this tool, what happens is that it merges one source at a time. So if you're having content source on E drive, F drive, and D drive, you have to select between these drives, which drive is having the maximum free space available. So based on that, you have to plan and move the content. So if your F drive is having the maximum free space, then you need to plan for merging first source drive D and the target drive FF. Then you need to run the tool again for E drive and target drive F. And once you have run twice, then you can have a target drive F with all the content. So this can be used in other scenarios as well. It not only for the active passive side, you can use for other scenarios as well. Like if you're planning to merge all the content library drives, you can use this tool. And this tool automatically sets the permission, and it also handles the virtual directories for if there are any distribution point, it handles the virtual directory as well. And you also, one thing to note is that the cleanup happens automatically. That is, the source drive cleanup happens automatically. So it will be deleted once the content library merge is completed. And also it places a no SMS drive on that drive, no SMS drive file on that drive. So once that is done, you can say that, okay, content library merge is completed, and there will be a downtime. It will stop the SMS executive services. And then it will be doing all the permissions, setting up and all those things. And once it is completed, it will be deleting the old content. So that's it with the content library merge. And then let's move on to the move content library. So move content library. What are the prerequisites? Yeah, prerequisites are like the primary site should not be holding a distribution point role. That is the main prerequisite, that if your primary site is holding a distribution point role, you need to plan to move the distribution point role to another server. And then only you can start the content library move, because the content library is shared between the primary site and the distribution point. And when you're moving the content library and you plan to create a share, and that share should be having permission for the primary sites. So whether it be a active primary site or passive site, the site server account should be having full permission on the network share. And the remote content library should be in a trusted domain. Like your server is in one domain and you're creating a share in another domain, then definitely there should be a trust between those domains. Otherwise, it will not work. Now, what happens if your site server is holding a distribution point role? So if your site server is holding a distribution point role, then you won't be able to click on manage content library. That will be grayed out. And the moment you move the distribution point role to another server, you can click on the manage content library, which will be there on the, when you click on the sites, you will be able to see this, and you have the option to click on manage content library. And when you click on the manage content library, your current location will be taken automatically, and you need to provide the new location. And new location should be your share name, the server name, and the share name. So this is the server name and the share name, and whatever folder you are providing, whether it is content library or SCCM content lib, that name. So once you provide that and click on move, you will be seeing this entry in the dist-mgr log. So copying content library to remote content, and it will automatically pick the source folder. So what happens here is that if you are having one source folder, it will be fine. So if you are having multiple source folder, config mgr get confused, and this content library process, the move content library process, goes in a loop. So if you are having 1.5 TB of package content, it will start copying the files first, and then it goes for a verification, and then it starts again copy and again verification and again copy and again verification. It goes in a loop. It will not stop. So that's a known issue with the content move. So that is why I mentioned, like, first merge the content and then go for the move content, right? So this is the process. You will be able to see these entries in the content library. So this much data copied and this many files, estimated time. And once it is completed, it will go for the verification, and then it says that move content library copied and completed. Right now, let's talk about the installing a passive site. So this is a small video which I have taken from my lab, and in this lab, I'm going to install a passive site. Okay, so I have one standalone primary site, and I'm just going to the servers and site system roles, and MGD SCCM is my primary site. and I'm going to install a new site system role and create site system server. Provide the server name. And after the server name, I'll provide the site, the primary site, select the primary site. Right, and then click on next, and then select site server in passive mode. Okay, site server in passive mode, and here you need to provide the installation location. So I'm just going to the new server which I have built, and this is server 2022. Right, so from config.mgr current branch version 2107, server 2022 is supported. So let me just check for the pre-created folder location. So I just copy this folder location and go to the installation folder location. So I provide that location here, and you should provide that slash there, otherwise you will face a lot of issues. And click on next. It will check for the details, and then it will show the summary. Right, click on next. And close. So the passive site installation is triggered. Now, where do we go to check this installation status? You see the new site system role is created there. And if you want to go and check the status of this site, you need to go to the monitoring. Right, go to the monitoring, and there you have the site server status. And inside server status, it's showing, shows as installing. And if you click on show status, it will show the installation status. As of now, it is not triggered. So once it is triggered, it will go first with the prerequisite check. So this is where I mentioned, prerequisite check done. Few of the steps have completed. And this is where I mentioned existing configuration manager server components on site system. This check will fail if you are installing on an existing server. So prerequisite check completed. Now it goes for the preparation. And in the preparation, it will create the compressed package. So whichever package is required for installation, and then it creates a site server job and then sends that package into new server, and that new server should be decompressing all those files, and it starts the installation. So installation starts. You can check the config.mgr setup log on the new server, and in the log you can see it is doing all the language pack installation, copying files, component installation. So all those things it will be doing, and once it is completed, you will be seeing the status as installation completed. So language pack, and you can also see the status in failover manager log for all these installation. Installation is completed, and post installation it will install the SMS executive services. So that activity you can check in the site comp log on the existing primary site, and this is where you need to see once the installation is completed, you won't be able to see the console, right? And now we are moving into promoting a passive site. So before that, I just want to say the config.mgr console will not be installed automatically on primary site. You have to install it. That is another limitation. You have to install it manually. So once you install a passive site and you are looking for the console, you won't be able to see any. You need to install it manually, and during site upgrade, you need to upgrade the console on all these servers. So definitely when you're going for high availability, there will be additional administration overhead. So that you need to keep in mind. Now we are promoting the newly installed passive site into active. Okay. And again, promoting, you can see the settings there. Same location. When you go for the show the site status in the monitoring, you can see the status there. And now we'll talk about the always on. So always on is mainly used for SQL. And SQL, you can have two different types of always on. One is with the failover cluster instance, and another one is with the availability group. So failover cluster instance is the legacy method which we have seen in olden days. I would say most of the days, current scenario, we are using the availability groups. We are not going with the failover cluster instance. Failover cluster instance difference is that you will be installing SQL Server on the failover cluster. You have a when you open the SQL Server setup, you have an option like install SQL Server on a Windows failover cluster, and that failover cluster will be connected with the shared storage, either with SAN or some SMB storage, whichever storage technology which you're using. And depends on the availability depends on the storage redundancy. Like if your SAN storage is having redundancy, then your failover cluster is also having redundancy. And in the case of failover cluster, the failover of the instance takes minutes. Right, it takes time for the failover from one instance to another, and it is a multi-node instance and passive secondary nodes. So secondary nodes are active, not always active. Whenever there is a failover, then only passive secondary nodes will come into picture. But if you consider that in the availability groups, AG, SQL AG, you can host multiple database failover at the same time. I'll show you that. And also the storage is attached directly to the server. There is no SAN connectivity. It is attached directly to the server, no SAN or fiber connectivity to the server. And it always manages two data copies, that is on the primary as well as on the secondary. And failover takes only seconds, at least less than a minute. In case of huge databases, it takes less than a minute, but it happens faster than the failover cluster instance. And it can have multiple secondary replicas, and secondary replicas are always active. Like it will be always having a copy of your primary replicas database. So that's two different types of always on. Right. Now, always on availability group, I'll go a little bit in detail. So in always on availability group, you still need to install the Windows failover clustering role. Okay, and it needs to be configured with whichever replicas you are planning to go with. You need to have those replica server added into the failover cluster, but you don't need to configure anything with the storage or anything like that. Just installed and configured with the replicas. And you should use the same service account on all the participating nodes or the replica servers. And you need to register SPN using the service account. And any changes in service account, SPN needs to be re-registered, so that if there are any changes later at a later point of time, it needs to be re-registered. And you should have same version of SQL installed on all the replicas. And also you should be having the same correlation settings on all the replicas. Now this is on the right side. What you are seeing is the sample always on high availability group. The group name is CMAZP-AG, and in this this is called the availability group. So availability group is nothing but which holds all the availability replicas, database, and group listeners. So what is availability replica? Replica is nothing but whichever nodes participating in the always on availability group, that is called the replica. In replica, you have the one will be primary always, and multiple secondaries you can have. So according to the failover scenarios, you can move on to the any of the secondaries. And availability database is nothing but the database which are acting in the taking part in the availability group. You can add multiple database here. Not only the CM, config MGR database, you can have other database as well. And availability group listener is nothing but a virtual DNS name, right? In this DNS name only, you will be connecting the SQL Server once the SQL always on availability group is available. You will not be connecting in the name of the individual replica servers. You will be connecting with the SQL listener name, and you will be providing this listener name in the config manager SQL DB movement. So that's with the availability group. Now let me show you the okay, config manager DB to SQL always on. So you're planning to move from your on standalone DB server to SQL always on with minimum downtime. So there are other methods where you can directly take a backup of your DB and restore it in SQL always on and add it to the SQL always on group. So that will definitely take time. So if you are doing this for consider your database size is around 1 TB. Your database backup time, it includes once you need to consider the backup time and then restore time in the new SQL always on. And once it is done, you need to run the config manager setup to change the DB name. So definitely it is going to take more than 6 to 8 hours. But if you want to reduce that downtime, you can always go with this method, the one which I'm showing here. So I have some screenshots, so I'll do it one by one. So you need to change the recovery model to full. So by default, all the database will be on recovery model simple. At least the config manager database will be on simple recovery model. You need to change it to full. This is a prerequisite. Okay. Once you change it to full, from where you can change it to full is you need to go to the database and right click on properties, and in the options you will see the recovery model fulls. You can do that, or else you can, if you have the command, you can execute it in one single line command. You can execute it. Right now, use full backup and log backup from existing DB server. So you are doing this on your existing DB server, okay? Whichever is going to move to SQL always on. So you need to take a full backup and then followed by log backups. So you can plan this accordingly. Like if you are planning to move the SQL database tomorrow, Sunday, then you can start from Friday evening, take the full backup, one full backup, and then take subsequent log backups for every 6 hours or 8 hours. And then once you take the full backup, you need to restore the same in the always on replica servers. So whichever how many nodes are there in the always on group, you need to restore that. So I'll show you that steps. So you will go to the existing primary site. Here my existing primary site is SCCM SQL, and you are going to right click on database task and then backup. And once you click on backup, you need to select between full and transaction log. First, you will take a full. That is mandatory. You need to take full first, and then go to the same steps again. Once full backup is completed, take the transaction log. And once it is done, you need to go to the SQL AOG replica server. And there you need to restore the database. Restore the database, you need to be very careful. You need to use restore with no recovery. You're not recovering the database after restore. So you need to select this option, restore with no recovery, for full backup as well as log backup. That is also mandatory. So log backup, you need, once the full backup is restored, it will be showing restoring because you have set no recovery. And now again, go to the task, restore, and select transaction log. So this is how you restore the transaction log for a DB which is already restored. Okay, so transaction log also you have the option leave the database non-operational with no recovery. Okay, so once you are done with all these steps, your final movement day comes, and that is when you stop the SMS executive service. And once you stop the SMS executive service, you give some 10 or 15 minutes, and once everything settles down, you take one more log backup from the existing server and restore that in the new servers. And once that is completed, you need to recover the DB on active node. So always you need to find out which node is the active replica node, and on the active replica node you need to run this command restore database with recovery, so that it will update all the changes whatever happened, and it will restore completely, right? So once this is completed, you need to add the database to always on with join only. So how you add the database is that you need to go and right click on the availability group, and you have the option add database. The database add wizard pops up, and you can select the database. You can see the database here. You can select it, and it shows meets prerequisite. And once you select that, you need to connect to the replica. So the replica is VM01, and you need to connect here. Click on connect. It will connect. And then you need, this is the main thing, you need to select join only. And once you click on join only and next and click on further, you need to click on finish. Then your database will be added into always on, and your database will be showing as like this with all green with synchronized state. Okay. And once that is done, you can run the config manager's maintenance setup on the primary site to move the SQL DB. So that will take approximately some 30 to 40 minutes. And once the SQL maintenance is completed, it will start for connecting the primary site to the database. And if you are doing this on a CAS to primary site, there will be some replication group reinitialization will happen, and that will take some time again. So that's how you move the DB config manager DB to always on with minimal downtime. So this will all happen very quickly, because we are doing only the log backup, restoring the log backup one final time after the SMS executive stops. So that restore will take very less time, and you can have very minimal downtime for the infrastructure. And this step was blocked by one of my colleague and my SQL guru, I would say, Benjamin Reynolds. And you can see this blog if you search for SQL Benjamin. There is a detailed blog on these steps. I just want to give him the credit. Right, now that's it from me. And yep, questions. So now let's go to the questions. I hope this was very informative. And any questions on this topic? Anyone? Let me check the.
There are a few questions, Rajul. First of all, thanks, Rajul, and the session was really informative, and I personally made a lot of note about the topics you covered. There are a few questions. Let me read it out. The first one, right? It was from Pankaj. It's more than a question; it's a statement.
Okay.
Maybe you can confirm. 2103 MEM install SMS provider automatically when you install HA role on passive site. I don't think it's a question, it's just a statement.
Install SMS provider automatically when you install HA role on passive site.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was on 1803 where you need to install additional SMS provider after configuring HA role. Yeah. So it's a statement,
So,
I think.
yeah, additional HA role, the SMS provider, it is useful. Like if you are having multiple, like multi-tier hierarchy, and if you want to manage multiple console sessions. So if you want to have multiple people working on, you don't need to rely on one single console. So that's where you can have multiple SMS providers to connect to the console. So that is kind of an high availability.
Okay. Thanks. I hope Pankaj that got clarified. The next question is from Ramnathan. It's a question where I believe it move all contents in the specific source drive. Can we do one specific content? Any particular switch is available or not? It's asking is it possible to move the content, any specific content?
So are we talking about the content move or the content merge? So if it is content merge, you need to have the command for each drive. You need to run the command and move the content. And if it is for the content move, you have to move the complete content. You cannot keep half one location and half in another location.
Perfect. Right. That's right. Thanks, Raju. And I think there's one more question I see.
Yeah, if content lib is shared between site server and DP, and if I remove DP role, will there be any impact on content lib? No, there will not be any impact on the content lib. Content lib will stay as it is. You can easily move, install a new distribution point in the hierarchy and remove the existing one which is there on the primary site. Right, and next one is, I think, is planned promotion. Unplanned promotion will take 30 minutes. If my active site is down, completely down, SMS provider also on same server, you can't open the console for this scenario. Okay, so that is where the additional SMS provider. So this is from Vaibhav. Is unplanned promotion will take 30 minutes if my active site is down. Scenario is if my active primary site is completely down, SMS provider also on the same server. So that is why I always suggest install additional provider on other servers as well. So that is a best practice, I would say, not only on the active or primary site. Okay, and can we create a HA role with single primary site, or required one or more sites to do that? You cannot do HA role with single primary site. You need multiple servers. Then only you can configure the active passive site. Right. So that's the questions.
Yeah. If any further questions, post it here. In another 5 minutes, right, we'll be having the next session starting in the same group. Yeah.
All right then. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Raju.